do a little video on documenting my journey from when I was given my diagnosis with breast cancer and the last year and the journey that I've actually been on. So it was actually really interesting how it started. To go back a bit, about 7 years ago, I actually discovered this fibroadenoma in my left breast, the same place as the lump was found this time. And it was actually, I don't know, I was a lot more fearful back then, and they said to leave it in, it'll be fine. And I just went, no, what happens if it actually decides to turn into cancer? So I decided to get it out. So interesting, I'm a real believer in, well, it's interesting that it showed up then and now it's come back again. And to me, I go, what lessons have I not learnt in my life? What have I not learnt about this experience? What have I not changed in my life for it to come back? And on both occasions, it was really interesting because I actually got these really strong signs and messages that the lump was actually there. So the second time, which was this the awful diagnosis, I was actually in the supermarket and the guy was scanning my groceries, and this voice just came to me and said, "Check your breast." And I went, "Oh God, here we go again." And I kind of just tried to do it without making it look obvious, and it felt different to the first one. And I don't know, there was a very deep sinking feeling for me. So I ended up going to the doctor, and I then went to a really great hospital that I really like going to. The nurses are really caring there, and so I went there, and they were actually quite concerned. They did lots of tests, and they just went, "Yeah, this is not actually looking good." And this was over the Easter period last year. So on the 22nd of April, the radiologist, I think it was, who rang me and gave me I'm really sorry, but you've got breast cancer. And so I decided to go along to the surgeon and see what she had to say. And she had actually taken the position of the other gentleman, because he has gone on, the one who did the first operation for me, he'd gone on to another country and was no longer available. So she's taken his business, his position in this clinic. So I went along and I brought my mum for moral support, and I'm so glad I did, because I went there and it was the most terrifying thing. She sat down and gave me all of the menu. So the menu was a lumpectomy, and then there was chemotherapy and radiation, and they were really concerned about my lymph nodes, although it had come back that wasn't a concern. They just said while I was out for the operation, they would just check. And that was the most terrifying, actually, all of them, because my aunt has had breast cancer 3 times, and she has a thing called lymphedema, because they've taken out her lymph nodes, and her arm swells up absolutely dreadfully, and she gets a lot of pain in it. And so there was absolutely no way that she was going to do that. That was the thing that really scared me the most. And then also so it was lumpectomy, it was chemo, it was radiation, and then it was hormone therapy as well for 5 years afterwards. And I haven't taken any drugs. Like I don't think I've ever taken any drugs. Can't even remember the last time I took antibiotics, probably as a child. So I kind of went out of there and I nearly collapsed just with the complete fear. And she said, "You've got to get in here straight away within 3 days, otherwise you will be in serious trouble." And then I got really, really scared, and I went home, and I can't remember why or where I heard it, but I started investigating, and the theme kept coming up. You actually do have time. Whereas I was led to believe that I didn't have time. So I just went, oh, okay, cool. Well, if I've got time, I'll just do some research. And I did about an intense 1 or 2 weeks worth of research and really went into the science of everything. And people had told me about this series called The Truth About Cancer. Ty and Charlene Bollinger in America, and his family, about 7 of his family had died of cancer, and they just went, what's going on here? So they investigated, and they had amazing amount of doctors and people who are in the know and integrative specialists. So that was really comforting. And I also found a gentleman called Tyler Tolman and his father Don Tolman, And I really liked their message. It was all about simplicity and just eating clean, eating foods and in your region as much as you can, and organic and raw as much as you can as well. And they also do courses on juice fasting, and also water fasting. So I just decided, I did a lot of research and I went, right, I'm going to have to start doing something. So I ended up doing the juicing. So I didn't want to have any fruit. So I ended up having complete vegetable juices, and it was 40 days. And I just literally I had 5 or 6 juices a day, and I came up with all these various combinations. But I'm going to have to say dinner was really hard. So the poor girls ended up having to look after themselves most of the nights, because I was so hungry. But it was quite amazing, because I then actually went and got some cancer marker tests not long after that, which was in about August, I think it was. And it was quite amazing. He actually said, I cannot believe your blood looks so clean considering the diagnosis that you've been given. And I truly think that the juicing diet really, or the fast, really helped me. I also, so I kept adding to my repertoire. So I have got that many things that I did to detox my body, to cleanse my blood, to reduce the inflammation. There was just a numerous amounts. And if anyone's interested, let me know and I can tell you what they are. And I'm sure I'll go into them at other stages. But I just sort of keep it with the brief story here. So I just kept looking and searching. And, the biggest thing I'd really like to tell people, if you're listening to this and you're on the journey, is to let go of the fear, because the fear actually creates inflammation in the body, and it actually helps feed the cancer. So it's really important to completely and utterly trust. I don't know where this trust came from, but I just knew that I was never going to die. And so I just gave up fearing, and I just completely trusted in everything that I did. And so many people, from naturopaths to alternative people that I went to see, to doctors, they were all completely terrified for me, because I didn't get the lumpectomy in the end either, which most people get the lumpectomy and then go on and do other natural things. But I just knew that it had to stay in there. And I also came across Andreas Moritz, and he actually said you have to be very careful with lumpectomies, because cancer's very sticky. So if people don't actually handle it correctly, you could actually potentially spread it throughout the body. So that was another consideration. I went, right, I'm really going to give it my all, and I'm not going to rule out any medical procedures, but I'm going to give it a red hot cracking go to see if I can do this on my own. And so I pretty much led myself to health, and it was just my complete and utter sheer determination, and just this, I don't know, this kind of thought process, this feeling, this just inner knowing it had to be done this way. And I think it's just a culmination of my life experiences, to never really trusting in myself, always having to give away my power to authority, that this was like the fight of my life, and I had to do it myself. And I tell you, coming out the other end, I just feel so alive and so empowered, and just there's such a totally different level of trust. So, and then towards last year in October 2019, I ended up starting to see this lady who does laser treatments, and that's been really, really effective treatments as well. And I've been doing lots of exercise, and then I also got into the Wim Hof breathing method, and I find his stuff is really great, because in about April this year, 2020, I was given the all clear. I got some more cancer marker tests, and he checked my blood over, and he does a process to do that, and he just was so impressed with what I had actually done and couldn't actually believe it, because it's really it takes a lot of strength to continue this journey, and it's to try and beat the cancer. But I also read the book from Andreas Moritz, Cancer is Not a Disease, It's a Healing Mechanism. Every time I got scared, I'd go and read his book, or I'd look at videos or positive videos, just to get me back on track, because a lot of people, if you tell them what you were doing, they got fearful for you, and then I'd get a bit wobbly myself as well. So I just then had to go and watch positive videos and movies on people who were saying the opposite. So that was really, really helpful. And so I guess the biggest thing the reason I got to this position was I was stressing my body out. I was working 7 days a week, and I desperately wanted to take my kids and I to Africa at the end of last year. And and my body kept screaming at me, going, "Can you please stop?" And I was going, "Nope, be quiet. We're going to Africa." And so I'm really now learning that I have to, when my body is screaming at me, going, "I'm tired. Stop." So it's a constant journey now, and it's listening to my body, and also not pushing myself too hard, and just enjoying the simple things in life. I'm really enjoying that, and life is just amazing, and just a totally different journey. And that's why I'd really like to share this journey with other people, and just to really offer hope for them that there are other ways if you would like to go down that path. So that's all I need to say today.